There seems to be some idea that if one stays here one would get, well, solider, grow acclimatized."
"I know all about that," said the ghost. "Same old lie. People have been telling me that sort of thing all my life. They told me in the nursery that if I were good, I'd be happy, and they told me at school that Latin would get easier as I went on. After I'd been married a month, some fool was telling me that there were always difficulties at first, but with tact and patience I'd soon settle down and like it. And all through 2 wars, what didn't they say about the good time coming, if only I'd be a brave boy and go on being shot at? Of course they'll play the old game here if anyone's fool enough to listen."
"But who are they? This might be run by someone different."
"Entirely new management, eh? Don't you believe it. It's never a new management. You'll always find the same old ring. I know all about dear, kind Mummy coming up to your bedroom and getting all she wants to know out of you. But you always found she and Father were the same firm, really. Didn't we find that both sides in all the wars were run by the same armament firms, or the same firm which is behind the Jews and the Vatican and the dictators and the democracies and all the rest of it? All this stuff up here is run by the same people as the town. They're just laughing at us."
"I thought they were at war."
"Of course you did. That's the official version. But who's ever seen any signs of it? Oh, I know that's how they talk. But if there's a real war, why don't they do anything? Don't you see that if the official version were true, these chaps up here would attack and sweep the town out of existence? They've got the strength. If they wanted to rescue us, they could do it. But obviously the last thing they want is to end their so-called war. The whole game depends on keeping it going."
This account of the matter struck me as uncomfortably plausible. I said nothing.
"Anyway," said the ghost, "who wants to be rescued? What the hell would there be to do here?"
"Or there," said I.
"Quite," said the ghost. "They've got you either way."
"What would you like to do if you had your choice?" I asked.
"There you go," said the ghost, with a certain triumph, "asking me to make a plan. It's up to the management to find something that doesn't bore us, isn't it? It's their job. Why should we do it for them? That's just where all the parsons and moralists have got the thing upside down. They keep on asking us to alter ourselves. But if the people who run the show are so clever and so powerful, why don't they find something to suit their public? All this poppycock about growing harder so that the grass doesn't hurt our feet now. There's an example. What would you say if you went to a hotel where the eggs were all bad, and when you complained to the boss, instead of apologizing and changing his dairyman, he just told you that if you tried, you'd get to like bad eggs in time?" "Well, I'll be getting along," said the ghost after a short silence. "You coming my way?"
"There doesn't seem to be much point in going anywhere on your showing," I replied. A great depression had come over me. "And at least it's not raining here."
"Not at the moment," said the hard-bitten ghost, "but I never saw one of these bright mornings that didn't turn to rain later on. And by gum, when it does rain here, I hadn't thought of that. It hadn't occurred to you that with the sort of water they have here, every raindrop will make a hole in you like a machine-gun bullet. That's their little joke, you see. First of all, tantalize you with ground you can't walk on, and water you can't drink, and then drill you full of holes. But they won't catch me that way."
A few minutes later, he moved off. Chapter 8. I sat still on a stone by the river's side, feeling as miserable as I ever felt in my life. Hitherto it had not occurred to me to doubt the intentions of the solid people, nor to question the essential goodness of their country, even if it were a country which I could not long inhabit. It had indeed once crossed my mind that if these solid people were as benevolent as I had heard one or two of them claim to be, they might have done something to help the inhabitants of the town, something more than meeting them on the plain. Now a terrible explanation came into my mind. How if they had never meant to do us good at all? How if this whole trip were allowed the ghosts merely to mock them? Horrible myths and doctrines stirred in my memory. I thought how the gods had punished Tantalus. I thought of the place in the book of Revelation where it says that the smoke of hell goes up forever in the sight of the blessed spirits. I remembered how poor Cowper, dreaming that he was not after all doomed to perdition, at once knew the dream to be false, and said, These are the sharpest arrows in his quiver. And what the hard-bitten ghost had said about the rain was clearly true. Even a shower of dewdrops from a branch might tear me in pieces. I had not thought of this before. And how easily I might have ventured into the spray of the waterfall. The sense of danger, which had never been entirely absent since I left the bus, awoke with sharp urgency. I gazed around on the trees, the flowers, and the talking cataract. They had begun to look unbearably sinister. Bright insects darted to and fro. If one of those were to fly into my face, would it not go right through me? If it settled on my head, would it crush me to earth? Terror whispered, "This is no place for you." I remembered also the lions. With no very clear plan in my mind, I rose and began walking away from the river in the direction where the trees grew closest together. I had not fully made up my mind to go back to the bus, but I wanted to avoid open spaces. If only I could find a trace of evidence that it was really possible for a ghost to stay, that the choice were not only a cruel comedy, I would not go back. In the meantime, I went on, gingerly, and keeping a sharp lookout. In about half an hour, I came to a little clearing with some bushes in the centre. As I stopped, wondering if I dared cross it, I realized that I was not alone. A ghost hobbled across the clearing as quickly as it could on that uneasy soil, looking over its shoulder as if it were pursued. I saw that it had been a woman, a well-dressed woman, I thought, but its shadows of finery looked ghastly in the morning light. It was making for the bushes. It could not really get in among them, the twigs and leaves were too hard, but it pressed as close up against them as it could. It seemed to believe it was hiding. A moment later I heard the sound of feet, and one of the bright people came in sight. One always noticed that sound there, for we ghosts made no noise when we walked.
"Go away!" squealed the ghost. "Go away! Can't you see I want to be alone?"
"But you need help," said the solid one.
"If you have the least trace of decent feeling left," said the ghost, "you'll keep away. I don't want help. I want to be left alone. Do go away. You know I can't walk fast enough on these horrible spikes to get away from you. It's abominable of you to take advantage."
"Oh, that," said the spirit. "That'll soon come right. But you're going in the wrong direction. It's back there, to the mountains you need to go. You can lean on me all the way. I can't absolutely carry you, but you need have almost no weight on your own feet, and it will hurt less at every step."
"I'm not afraid of being hurt, you know that."
"Then what is the matter?"
"Can't you understand anything? Do you really suppose I'm going out there among all those people like this?"
"But why not?"
"I'd never have come at all if I'd known you were going to be dressed like that."
"Friend, you see, I'm not dressed at all."
"I didn't mean that. Do go away."
"But can't you even tell me?"
"If you can't understand, there'd be no good trying to explain it. How can I go out like this among a lot of people with real solid bodies? It's far worse than going out with nothing on would have been on earth. Have everyone staring through me."
"Oh, I see. But we were all a bit ghostly when we first arrived, you know. That'll wear off. Just come out and try."
"But they'll see me."
"What does it matter if they do?"
"I'd rather die."
"But you've died already. There's no good trying to go back to that." The ghost made a sound something between a sob and a snarl.
"I wish I'd never been born," it said. "What are we born for?"
"For infinite happiness," said the spirit. "You can step out into it at any moment."
"But I tell you, they'll see me."
"An hour hence, and you will not care. A day hence, and you will laugh at it. Don't you remember, on earth, there were things too hot to touch with your finger, but you could drink them all right? Shame is like that. If you will accept it, if you will drink the cup to the bottom, you will find it very nourishing. But try to do anything else with it, and it scalds."
"You really mean—"
said the ghost, and then paused. My suspense was strained up to the height. I felt that my own destiny hung on her reply. I could have fallen at her feet and begged her to yield. "Yes," said the spirit. "Come and try." Almost I thought the ghost had obeyed. Certainly it had moved. But suddenly it cried out,
"No, I can't! I tell you I can't! For a moment while you were talking I almost thought, but when it comes to the point, You've no right to ask me to do a thing like that. It's disgusting. I should never forgive myself if I did. Never, never. And it's not fair. They ought to have warned us. I'd never have come. And now, please, please go away."
"Friend," said the spirit, "could you only for a moment fix your mind on something not yourself?"
"I've already given you my answer,"
said the ghost, coldly but still tearful. "Then only one expedient remains," said the spirit, and to my great surprise he set a horn to his lips and blew. I put my hands over my ears. The earth seemed to shake. The whole wood trembled and dindled at the sound. I suppose there must have been a pause after that, though there seemed to be none, before I heard the thudding of hoofs, far off at first, but already nearer before I had well identified it, and soon so near that I began to look about for some place of safety.